Hello everybody, Mark here. Today I'm going to be making a stir fry. Now I've done a bunch of these already in the past. If you type in Mark's Remarks stir fry, you'll see I've done a good half a dozen of them, maybe more, with all different ingredients. Now today I'm going to be doing a stir fry with chicken and bacon with a mix of veg. Now the bag of peas came with a bit of carrot, bit of sweet corn in it. Alright, and then I put extra sweet corn in there from a bag of sweet corn. So I'm going to be frying those up with the chicken and bacon, and I'm going to be using Uncle Ben's stir fry sauce. There we go. I only ever buy this when it's on special. They're doing a special deal. It's £1, which unfortunately the shop I shop at mostly only has this brand. They don't do their own brand of stir fry, which they used to. Anyway, but I always wait for these £1 and then I buy several of them. Okay, so let's going to cut up the meat. Actually, while I'm cutting up the bacon, I'll do a couple of shout outs. Now, a few weeks ago I did a sticky maple barbecue pork casserole with potatoes and veg. That's what it was called in the title. And Jonathan Holroyd sent in a comment regarding when I was cooking up the sticky maple chunks of pork in the frying pan here. Because what it was, I was cooking them up and then throwing them in the casserole dish. That his suggestion was to put some... let me just read his comment again. That was it. Cooking up the meat, then putting it in the frying it up, putting it in the casserole dish, but then you've got all the bits of meat that have basically cooked itself, you know, the little fragments, cooked itself onto the pan. His suggestion was putting some water in there, giving it a scrape, perhaps with the spatula, you know, and then putting that water infused with these scraps of meat and the juices into the casserole dish with the rest of the meat. That way you won't, you know, you won't be losing any of the bit of flavour, bit of nutrients, bit of juices from the meat, from the cooking. I thought that was a pretty good idea. It didn't occur to me before, you know, because but it's a good way of you know, adding some extra flavour rather than putting it in the bin or down the sink. That was Jonathan Holroyd. Thank you for his comment. Now I've cut up the bacon. I'm gonna cut up the chicken in a moment. I'm just gonna put some oil in the pan. Okay, I'm gonna turn this on to about 8, and I'm gonna cut that up. Now, also the other day. Oh Jesus! Right, wrong one. Turn that on instead of this one. Last week I did a video, a little tutorial of how to cook a fried egg, you know, which may seem like a simple thing to do, but it's really not as easy as it looks. But I did a tutorial with my small frying pan, and I got a couple of comments from English Heart and Craig Hymus. They both said the same thing, that the way they do it is when the egg is in the frying pan, what they'll do, they'll splash some oil onto the top of the egg in order to cook the top, because remember it saves the need of flipping the egg over, which is what I do, which is really not helpful unless you get it really, you know, you have to really get it, the timing correct, because the top will go solid if you flip it over for too long. But their idea of gently cooking it from underneath like I did, but pouring the hot fat on the top, it'll seal the yolk and the white without the need for flipping it. So that should be an easier way of making sure that the egg stays running, which is ideal for me, at least. Alright, so thank you to English Heart and Craig Hymas for their comments. That is a useful one. I think I'll try that next time I do a fried egg. Because, yeah, flipping it over, it's a really hit and miss. Trying to get the timing right. Anyway, I've chopped up the chicken and I've chopped up the bacon as you saw. Now I put a little bit of oil in the frying pan. I'm frying this up, and when this starts to get some colour, not when it goes really brown like I want it, but when it starts to get some colour, then I'm going to throw in the vegetables. I figure the vegetables won't take that long, and also the vegetables are frozen, so I won't. I don't want to. When I throw them in, I don't want to bring the temperature down too much, so I'll do it earlier on. Okay, I've got another couple of shout outs. I'll do them in a moment. Okay, the chicken and bacon have been cooking for about 3 or 4 minutes now. It's starting to heat up. The chicken has changed colour to most of it has actually, from a pink to a white. And now it's time for the. I'll show you that. There you go. Some vegetables, frozen vegetables. We're going to throw them in and cook them up for however long it takes to cook the meat. There we go. Give that a mix around. Just let that simmer, giving it a stir occasionally. Once this is done, once this is all cooked through, then I'll put the sauce in and let it simmer for a while. And then I'll work on the rice. What I'm doing as well, because I used a whole packet of bacon. I think it was 8 slices, 6 or 8 slices. Well, what I would need, they were all in one big heap, so I just chopped them up as you saw. What I'm doing with a fork, as I'm mixing it, I'm just trying to separate the bits of bacon. Just to, as you're mixing it around, it's all in one. Now, I've just spooned the oil out, because it was mixed in with the meat juices and, it's getting a bit, So, anyway, I scooped it out, put it in the scrap oil container, just put a little bit more oil in there. And I'm just going to carry on frying this up. Actually, in hindsight, because I'm sort of like making this up as I go along, if in hindsight I would have put the vegetables in a little bit later. Let the meat cook a little bit more before putting the veg in. But it's all good. Just going to let that carry on frying for a while. As you can see, it's a very colourful dish and it's looking very nice. It smells good. It's starting to turn the right shade of brown. The chicken and the bacon. There you go. The trick is now, I've got it on 9 out of 12 because I wanted to bring the heat up a little bit. It wasn't quite hot before. The trick is to keep it moving, don't, let it come in contact with the heat and that, but keep it moving so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan, which you can see perhaps there, it is sort of a, the remnants do stick to the bottom there, but just keep it moving so it doesn't like weld itself to the frying pan. There. Now it's time for the Uncle Ben's. I've turned the heat down to 6. And, actually let me just give that another... Yeah, I can smell it's it's not burning, but it's definitely smelling well cooked. There you go, you can see there's a lot of nice colours in there. There you go. So, spill some carrot on there. Now it's time for the Uncle Ben's sauce. Now you can use any brand. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that these are £1, they're on special. Normally they're like £1.80. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be buying this brand. I'd be buying the regular shop brand. Which I think I mean my early videos I was using a lot of shop brands for everything. trying to show that they're equal in flavour and less costly than shop brands. Anyway, I'm going to let that gently simmer away. I tell you what though, this is actually, I mean, if I wasn't such a greedy bastard, this would probably be a meal for two, you know, because I'm going to put some rice with this as well. So, and also, I mean, if you used to, I'm going to put rice with this. You could instead put roast potatoes in there, or boiled potatoes, or both, potatoes and rice, you know, and you've got a good hearty meal for at least 2 people there. Anyway, okay, I'm going to let that simmer down. Now the last, I'm going to come up here for a moment. I've got a couple more shout outs. Now the other day, last week I think, because it's been a few days since I posted it. Lemon and pepper sole. I did a breadcrumbed lemon sole with rice and vegetables. Now it was very nice. I got on got on special because it was on the date of expiry. I bought about 3 or 4 of them in the freezer. Now Ethan Humphreys gave it a name. Gave the dish a name. Ethan Humphreys calls it the Soul Destroyer. There we are, the Soul Destroyer, and Ethan and English Heart again, who did the egg comment. English Heart calls it Saving Our Soul. There you go. So both plays on the word of because of the fishes. It was a soul fish, which is something that I'm not used to eating actually, but. Some good wordplay on the word soul. So Ethan Humphreys, English Heart, Jonathan Holroyd, Greg Hyman. Thank you everybody for your comments. And that, by the way, to everybody, occasionally people ask me if I can do a shout out, but the truth, that's how you get a shout out. You don't have to name a dish. I mean, that's just one of the things. But send in a useful comment that I can pass on and share to everybody who's watching. You know, something. If I'm doing a dish and you do it differently, that's how we share ideas. Some good ideas coming and pass. All right, back to the stir fry. Now it's starting to get a little bit thick. So what I've done, I've put a little bit of water in the jar. I probably won't use all of this, but I'm just giving it a swish round. Pour some in there. Just to add some moisture, because I've mentioned it a dozen times already, all this steam coming up is water escaping from the food. So just give that a mix around. There we are. Just let that cook away. Okay, now I'm going to cook the rice. Now I'm going to cook the rice for about 2 minutes. Yeah, 1.5 to 2 minutes, depending on what kind of microwave you got. I've got the cheapest one in the shop. So that's classified as letter D, 700 watt. If you've got a decent microwave, it'll take less than 2 minutes. All right, but when that's done, throw that in the stir fry. Here we are. Rice is done. Just basically throw that in. In actual fact, this is it's very loose rice. This is whole grain rice. I've not tried this before. I don't believe. Tried every other rice in the shop, but not that one. It doesn't clump up like the rest of them. Okay, so I'm just going to pour that in over the top. Get all the little bits of veg out of there. Right. There we have it. Long grain rice, chicken, bacon, sweet corn, peas, a few carrots in there, and some Uncle Ben sauce. There we are. That looks really good. Alright, now we're going to go over the taste test. Here we are. Now, as with all the dishes, it's quite sweet. You can substitute any meats for these. I'm using chicken and bacon. You can use anything you like, pork chops, steak. I don't know, bit of lamb, or whatever you want, you know.
sweet sauce. Now this rice definitely tastes different than the other rices I've had. It's long grain, a bold, nutty flavour, and a nutritious alternative to white rice. There you go. That's probably why it tastes so different. Yeah, it kind of tastes like brown rice. Anyway, but very nice. I don't know whether, mind you, I mean, you know, I normally sort of have big dinners anyway. But couple of regular people could probably half this and add some potatoes, hash browns, anything you like, onion rings, put that in there. Yeah. But very nice, and it's easy to do. Just basically one pan does it. One frying pan, fry up all the meat, put in a few veg, throw in the sauce. One pan does it. Saves on the washing up as well. There you go. There's a close-up of that, and yeah. Let me know if you've done something similar to this. How would you change this? How would you improve on this? You know, if you fancy giving it a go at home. Anyway, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put a couple of links up there for a couple of other videos. Feel free to click on those for some other ideas. Thank you for watching.